Hi guys! So in my last video about seeing interactive introverts, I left out one tiny little insignificant detail, which was how I actually met Dan and Phil again. I was so tired and so full of adrenaline when I got back to the hotel that I completely left that part out. So very briefly, I want to tell you about the most important part of my evening. Little backstory, I sent them a gift to the theater, a little tiny box of cake pops from 1-800-Flowers, not a sponsor, that had little emojis on them because I thought it would be funny. And I just said something like, Dear Dan and Phil, thanks for everything, you're great, have a great show, signed me, you know. So anyway, I was obsessing about that ever since I started sending it, and I was worried about, would it get there on time, and would they think it was funny, and is that cringe, and should I have done that, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fast forward. So it's the day of the show. I get an email that the cake pops were delivered. I'm like, well, it's all done now. If they think I'm creepy, oh well. So I'm in line, and the girl in front of me is adorable, and she's shaking, and she's made the most adorable fan art for Dan and Phil. It's just beautiful. It's gorgeous. And she's telling her friend or her sister, I'm not sure how they were related, if I faint, catch me. And I'm like, bless your heart. And right about then, the girl came up to me, the young woman, and talked to me about how she had seen my last video about how I had met Dan and Phil before. And that helped me not get super nervous, because watching the girl in front of me get nervous was making me nervous. So that distracted me, and that was good. And she was so sweet, and I so wish I had gotten her name. If you happen to be watching this, hi, thank you for talking to me. So anyway, when it was my turn to be next, I don't know if you pronounce her name Marianne or Marianne, so I'm just going to say Marianne, was very sweet. She took the letters I had written for Dan and Phil, because we all know I need preparation. And last time I just said like 5 words, so I wanted to say, hey, thank you for your videos, and I'm socially awkward, and you make me feel better. So that's what I said in the letters. And then I handed her the picture that I had brought for them to sign, which was the picture that Dan took of us in the meet and greet when I met them before. And my sister very kindly had blown it up, and so it was an actual real picture. So I handed that to her because she was taking the things for Phil to sign, Dan and Phil to sign, so that we could just walk in and give him a hug and not have to hold it. So she looked at it. First of all, when she took the letters, she was so sweet about it. She acted as if I was handing her something that was super precious, which really it was, not to be weird, but it was. And she was like, I'll take them. And she put them down. She was so nice. And then she saw the picture and she said, oh, that was 2 years ago. Was that here? And I said, no, it was in Florida. I came up here just for the show. I'm from Florida. And so we talked for a second. And then I got brave. And I said, I sent Dan and Phil some cake pops. Do you know if they got them? And she said, oh, yes, that was you. Yes, they did get them. They thought I sent them. And I said, no, it wasn't me. That was very nice of you to send them. And I was like, oh, they got them. Okay. And they didn't bar me from coming, so I guess that's okay. And I said, well, I hope you got one. She goes, well, I haven't yet, but I will. And she was just so sweet. And then all of a sudden, it was my turn to see Dan and Phil, and she waved me in. You guys. Oh, my gosh. So I'm walking. I don't know how my feet are moving, but I'm walking, and I go around the little screen, and there's Phil. Well, there's Phil, So I do this, and he's already got his arms out, and I say, hi, Phil, and he gives me the biggest hug ever. And then I'm turned. I don't know if he turned to me or I turned. I'm turned, and I'm facing Dan, and I said, hi, Dan, and he's just, hi, with his giggle, and he gives me a hug. As Dan is giving me a hug, I hear Phil say, oh, look at us. And I realized that Marianne has handed him the picture. And Dan says, oh, we all look like fetuses. And I'm like, this is really happening. And I didn't say anything. I said nothing because my brain was not working. So I stood there and then just was like, uh-huh. And then I handed Dan the camera. So cringy. I didn't say, would you please take a picture? I just was like, huh. It was terrible. But Dan said, oh, I'll take a picture. Yes, I'll take the picture. I'm like, oh no, why did I? Okay, so I stand between them. I feel Phil's hand on my arm. Oh my gosh. I look up at the camera. They take the Dan takes the picture. I almost called him Dill. Dan takes the picture, and then he hands me the camera, and I'm starting to walk away, and I say, and this has haunted me, guys, you have to help me with this. I say something about the cake pops to him. I say something like, I hope you enjoyed the cake pops. And he looks at me a little confused looking at first. And then, but he's smiling and he just says, thank you. Or thank you. More like that. Thank you. And I realize that didn't go, uh-oh. Something didn't go right there. I think that he thought that I was saying, I enjoyed your cake pops video, which is fine, but that's not what I was trying to say. And then my feet were moving and I was leaving and I heard them say bye and I realized I was walking away without saying bye. So I said, bye, then I walked around the corner and the very nice gentleman handed me the Interactive Introverts bag. And then I walked to the stairs and then I had to stop because I realized my legs were shaking so much that I couldn't walk. And I looked through the bag and saw the trinkets, and I'm not going to say what they are just in case there's a spoiler. And then I was like, oh, the picture, I've got to see what the picture looks like. And the picture was so great. It's the thumbnail to the last video. But ever since then, you guys, I know you know what I'm about to say. I can't get the cake pop conversation out of my head. I shouldn't have said anything. Because here's the thing. I don't care if they know who gave them the cake pops. I just wanted to know if they liked them. My goal was for them to go, ha, that's funny. And that's what I was trying to get from Dan when I said, I hope you enjoyed the K-Pops. I wanted him to be like, oh yeah, that was funny. That's what I was trying to get. And it's okay that I didn't get that. That's cool. But I had this awkward interaction. I can't get it out of my head. But the rest of it was so perfect. And I need to help me. Just if you can say something in the comments to get my brain to stop, because it's now the next Thursday. This was last Saturday, and I've been like, yada, 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 living my life cake pop moment. Please help me forget that, because the rest of the experience was so wonderful. So that was my experience of meeting Dan and Phil again. If you want to know about the show with no spoilers, you can check out my last video. If you've seen Dan and Phil, if you've met them, if you've seen the show, please share your experience below or link to your video below and we'll all watch it, because I want to know more about how everybody experienced the meet and greet and how everybody experienced Interactive Introverts, which was such an amazing show. And if you haven't seen it and you don't have the opportunity to see it, when it comes out on film, however they release it, please take the time to see it, because it really is great. It'll blow you away. Our boys are talented, you guys. All right, cake pops, guys, help me. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Keep smiling. Bye.